What if I told you that Six Flags once owned and operated 3 of these awesome coasters, but that not a single one remains in operation? Let's take a look at what happened. What's up guys, Dr. Costa here and welcome back to another video on the channel. If you've seen my videos before, the thumbnail and title for this video might give you a little deja vu. But stick with me, because it'll come back around in the end. Before we throw ourselves into the story of these coasters, if you enjoyed the video, then be sure to drop it a like, as it helps you fight the YouTube algorithm. While you're at it, subscribe to the channel as well for more roller coaster and theme park content just like this. If you're sick of the puns, then let me know in the comments down under. On August 25th, 2001, Six Flags opened a coaster the likes of the world had never seen before. Well, sorta. At their flagship park, Six Flags Magic Mountain. Six Flags will work with Vekoma, a Dutch roller coaster manufacturer, to shoot some of the beefiest steroids they could find into their Boomerang model. Since the 1980s, the Boomerang model had littered the globe at parks far and wide, providing parks on a budget a cheap alternative to a thrill coaster that didn't take up much space. Preceding this new, beefed up model, however, Vekoma would work with Six Flags and Cedar Fair to open the first inverted boomerangs in the late 90s. The parks chosen were Kings Island, California's Great America, and Six Flags America, in the park's first year under the Six Flags banner. As mentioned previously, the step-up model from the Boomerang was also apparently not enough, and they proceeded to one-up it once again. The new amped-up version of the inverted Boomerang was to be called the Giant Inverted Boomerang. As you probably already guessed, it was a tall inverted coaster that featured a near-identical layout as the original clones created by Vekoma. Differing, however, was the inclusion of 2 massive vertical spikes that would allow riders to experience a 90-degree drop both forwards and backwards, providing a strikingly different ride experience than any of the other Boomerangs ever created. In early 2000 Six Flags fashion, the chain purchased 3 of these rides the same year and opened them mere weeks apart from each other. Six Flags Over Georgia would follow Magic Mountain and open the second one on September 1st, and Six Flags Great America would debut the final of the 3 coasters on October 7th of that year. The name chosen for these coasters would be Deja Vu, referring to the psychological phenomenon of feeling that you had experienced something before, when in fact this is your first time experiencing such an event. A pretty fitting name for a boomerang, so much so that Six Flags used it 3 times. Oh well, at least they didn't go with Goliath. The 3 coasters were all pretty well received, and if you look at the stats, it's not really surprising at all. These clones pulled 4.5 Gs, traversed 6 inversions, reached a top speed of nearly 70 miles per hour, and featured not 1, but 2 177-foot vertical drops, 1 forward and 1 backwards. I remember visiting Six Flags Over Georgia as a child and marveling at the size of Deja Vu, and I couldn't believe you could drop straight down like that. This was long before my coaster days, so I unfortunately missed this credit, as it was removed very soon after. It was these same thoughts and impressions that drove many others, general public and enthusiasts, to ride the coasters as well. Sadly, these experiences were very short-lived. While many enjoyed riding these new coasters, they certainly weren't without their problems. The first problem of note was noted immediately after installing the trains on these rides. Vekoma and Six Flags immediately realized the clearance for the ride was unsafe, and that riders would be able to reach up above them and actually touch the track while the trains were in motion. That was obviously a problem. Vekoma improvised in the situation, and rather than having to manufacture entirely new trains, they added additional bars to the over-the-shoulder restraints to prevent passengers from reaching too far above them. Possibly the most notable issue to occur with these coasters happened during the testing for the one at Six Flags Over Georgia. During a test cycle, the train was being pulled up the first tower when the catch car derailed and supposedly damaged the train beyond repair, as a replacement train was later installed, delaying the opening of the ride. Similarly, on July 11, 2016, the cable on the first tower of the relocated ride at Six Flags New England snapped, which caused the ride to suffer a prolonged delay that lasted months while waiting for the proper replacement parts. Also during the testing of these 3 coasters, it was discovered that the trains could valley, or stall, in the middle of this layout, resulting in the train being stuck. Obviously not an ideal scenario for any coaster. This would require the 3 parks that had built the rides to install emergency unloading structures that were not previously planned on being built. Now you're probably saying to yourself, it sounds like Vekoma ruined this from the beginning, so why are you blaming Six Flags too? And the fact is that while Vekoma harbored all of the blame early on, these rides didn't take up much room in the parks, and they continue to operate successfully at other popular parks both in the US and internationally, without incident. So selling off 2 of them and retrofitting the 3rd with trains not made for the model may not have been the best move. I've heard from many individuals that have ridden plenty of coasters that these giant inverted boomerangs are their favorites of all the boomerang models offered. Obviously this isn't saying too much, so it would be one thing to remove these for a far superior coaster. But let's see what the parks replaced them with instead. Deja Vu at Six Flags Great America would pack up shop in 2007 and be sold to Silverwood in Idaho. The park would rename the coaster Aftershock and open it to the public on July 21st, 2008, where it continues to operate to this day, still receiving praise from those that are able to make it that far out of the way to ride it. They would replace their Deja Vu coaster with Buccaneer Battle, a mock ride splash battle ride, geared towards the younger audience at the park. Similar to Deja Vu's fate at Six Flags Great America, the clone of Six Flags Over Georgia would close the same year and be sold to Mirabilandia in Brazil. If you want to ride that coaster, Mirabilandia is supposedly rebuilding it after having it in storage for the past 15 years. This would bring the number of operating clones in the world to a total of 5. Six Flags Over Georgia also went the kiddie route and replaced Deja Vu with Thomastown, an attraction lasted even shorter than the coaster itself did. This area of the park is now the Screen Punk District and home to Pandemonium, a Zamperla Giant discovery, making it easily the most tolerable replacement of the 3. But it took until 2019 to happen. The plans with Deja Vu at Magic Mountain differed slightly, but Six Flags still followed Patrick Starr's advice.
We should take
Deja Vu
and push it somewhere else!
The Deja Vu clone at Magic Mountain would survive 4 years longer than the ones at Six Flags Great America and Over Georgia, but it would close in 2011 when the company would ship it up to Boston. Okay, I'll go on. I couldn't resist the joke. Six Flags New England would rebuild the coaster and open it to the public on May 25th, 2012. As if they didn't already have a Boomerang right next to it. Six Flags will rename the coaster Goliath, and unfortunately the name wasn't the only aspect of the ride that was changed with this relocation. When the ride was relocated, Six Flags replaced the Vekoma trains with 4 cross trains for premier rides, which apparently did not ride well, and drew the ire of many riders, complaining of a violent and uncomfortable ride experience. Goliath would last until the coronavirus pandemic closed the park temporarily in 2020, when the ride would not reopen with the park. This would mark the last time one of these Vekoma Giant inverted boomerangs would operate at one of the Six Flags parks. After tearing down their Deja Vu and sending it to Six Flags New England, Magic Mountain has done nothing with the land, other than using it for storage next to Apocalypse. Magic Mountain actually temporarily lost their record for the park with the most coasters in the world when it was removed, tying them with Cedar Point at the time. As previously mentioned, the relocation to Six Flags New England was so well received that it wasn't even featured in the park's map for the 2021 season, and remained standing but not operating for some time before being demolished later that year. The future of its plot of land remains to be seen. Do they still hold on to the other Boomerang, or make way for something new? Who knows? As Yogi Berra said it best, it's Deja Vu all over again. Interestingly enough, Six Flags actually purchased 4 of these rides originally, 3 for their American parks, and 1 for Warner Bros. Movie World. Upon discovering the initial issues with their American clones, Six Flags postponed the opening of their European coaster. Once the issues with this coaster were resolved, Vekoma would go on to install 3 more of these giant inverted Boomerang models across the globe that are still operating at their respective parks to this day. So if you want to ride one of these internationally today, you'll need to travel to either Shanghai, China, Sochi, Russia, or more realistically, Madrid, Spain, to visit the one operating at Parque Warner Madrid. It's such a shame we don't have easier access to these once fairly common coasters. Thank you all for watching. That was the history of the Six Flags Giant Inverted Boomerangs. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to drop it a like, and subscribe to the channel for more roller coaster and theme park content just like this. If you found this video informative, then be sure to share it with somebody who would too. The channel has been growing a lot recently, and I really appreciate all the support. I didn't anticipate the channel ever growing the way that it is. If you want to interact further with me or consume even more roller coaster content, then you can also follow me on Instagram at Dr_Coaster. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.